Alright, so this is a video for the first class, in case you missed it. So basically, I'm John Cohn, I'm going to be teaching this class, so on and so forth. What I do want to make a point about is that I use a site for all of my classes. So that includes the intro class. So if you look on the top here, it's teachmecone.flywheelsites.com. If you can't remember that, it's also on Blackboard. So okay, and and if we go down, wait for the Blackboard. So if you go underneath this class, you will see that, in case you can't remember where it is, this is another way of getting to it. Underneath the announcements, you can just click on it here. So it's right there. So if you need it, that's another way to get to it. So anyways, it's underneath here. And then this is Intro to 3D. So click on that. And then on the first class. And voila, here we go. So I'm just going to kind of carry on from here. And I'm just going to basically, whatever. So here's my demo reel. You can watch that if you want. Basically, I'm one of the full-time faculty at Cecil College, which is in Northeast Maryland. But I also teach, obviously, at other places, including Wilmington. You can disregard my office hours. That obviously doesn't matter. If you need to get hold of me, obviously just use the email, so on and so forth. You can download the syllabus here. Big thing to cover is basically we are going to be using Blackboard for the course. So what that means is that the assignments are all going to be posted on Blackboard, and also the rubrics for each assignment. All of your assignments will be submitted on Blackboard. If I need to get a hold of you for some reason or make an announcement, I'll also be using Blackboard. So again, if you look on here, I don't do the weekly thing. What I'll do is I have a assignments tab or folder, and you click on that, and then you can see all the assignments here. And so like this is the first assignment, click on that, and then you can see the thing here. You can click on the rubric, and it shows you what how the grading works. And then you would just submit it here. All right, so it should be pretty straightforward. Good. Okay, so the assignments, basically what we're going to be doing is there's going to be one assignment due each week, and each one of those assignments is basically part one large project. And what you're going to do is by the end of the semester, you'll have a short film. Okay, so first assignment is to create character panels for your character and to basically block the character out. Then it's to do the body model. The next assignment is character face model. You can see we spend a lot of time on the character because the character takes a long time. But then you'll do the environment, then you'll do the rigging, then you'll animate it, render it, and you'll have a final film. So as you can see like that. And the other thing I want to make a point about is that notice that I do 12 assignments for 12 weeks. But obviously usually it's, 14 weeks or 15 weeks depending on what school you're at. The reason why is that I'll have a couple of catch-up weeks. Like my kids suck and I might miss a class, or you suck and you might miss a class, or we just get behind or what have you. It just allows for a little flexibility. So I only make it 12 weeks. It's a good clean number. Then we have 2 extra weeks to play with in order to make sure everybody gets everything done. Okay. 3D animation, that's obviously what we're going to be doing. That's what this course is. The only thing I really want to make a point about is that everyone always thinks of the entertainment industry, and that's great. You probably want to make video games, or you want to make, a Pixar film, or you want to do visual effects or something like that. And I get that. That's the face of what we do, and that's the big leagues. Shoot for that. Go for it. But I do want to make a point is that there are a lot of other things that people use animation for. Architectural visualization. So if someone wants to build a bridge or build a building, what they'll do is they'll hire somebody, or they'll be part of a team, and they will make an animation showing what it would look like and stuff like that, because it's worth it. I mean, there's multiple millions of dollars involved. It's worth it for them to pay for that. Medical visualizations, there's for educational purposes, but also people are using it as a way of doing pre-surgery. They'll look at 3D scans, and then they'll use that as a way of seeing what they're going to do before they actually do it. Legal. I knew a guy, he actually used to do animations for like lawsuits and stuff. And again, it's worth it because if you have a car and you want to show that, wow, that person, hit my dog, got out of his car and kicked him, you could do an animation of like of that happening. And if it helps, you know, a jury decide with your side, it's definitely worth it. Scientific is kind of obvious. A big one is product visualizations. I used to work at Fisher-Price, and I mean, whenever they came up with a new toy, you know, big thing was to make a sizzler, which is like a 15-second animation of showing off the toy and what it would do, and, you know, so that people would get excited about it. And that was for in-house. That wasn't even something we would like give to the public, not to mention like commercials and stuff like that. But just in general, if you're making a product and you're trying to sell it, again, product visualization is really huge. And there's a lot of new things that are coming out, like virtual reality. Everybody's getting in the game. Facebook is doing it. Microsoft is doing it. Obviously, the game consoles are doing it. 3D printing, obviously, is really big. A lot of rapid prototyping is another way that they call that. But basically, it gives you an idea that you can produce a product very quickly without having to go through the whole you know, system of getting a warehouse and having things mechanically completed. Holograms, there's a lot of other stuff. You don't really need to go into it. Okay, so we're going to be doing basically the 3D film production, because more or less what will happen is, even if you're in game or some other system, what you'll see is that it's generally the same production, at least as far as the 3D creation is concerned. So there's always going to be pre-production, and that's all the materials that is made before the film is actually made. That doesn't actually show up in the film, but it probably has the most effect on it. So, you know, like making the story and the art design and things like that, scheduling even. Productions, when you actually make all of the elements, so modeling the characters and rigging stuff and actual animation and rendering. And post-production is just putting all the business together, right? So after you have your footage, you would put it all together and, you know, voila. I'm just going to use a film I made for college as an example. And so in this case, I made a film about my chinchilla. And basically the idea was I was engaged to get married, and I also had a boy chinchilla. And so I decided that he should have a girlfriend. And so I bought him a girl chinchilla, and she was like big and she wasn't very nice, and he was basically trapped in the cage with her. And I saw this sort of, you know, similarity between our positions, if you will. So basically I made an animation kind of about his experience, at least what I felt was his experience, and I used that. And so the first thing you need to do when you come up with a film idea, or really any idea, is it's always good to start with a grain of truth, something that you can, that you know, that you understand. It makes it more believable. It's better for the audience. It's better for you. You're more invested. So that's the first thing, is you just have to come up with some sort of idea. The next thing to do is you make a script, which is obviously just it written down. I don't really need to get into it too much, but the only thing I would say is that we usually in animation will just use like a treatment. We won't write like a full-fledged script like a film production would. It's not really necessary. So a treatment is just a short, like 1 or 2 paragraph description of the film. You just kind of write out what it would be. Then you do character design and art direction. So, you know, in this case, I just did like these orthographic sketches because I would bring these into Maya and then model from them. Storyboard, you probably know what a storyboard is. An animatic is just a storyboard that's animated. This used to be an animated GIF. It's not anymore. Modeling, obviously modeling the character. Surfacing, so putting the materials and the textures on. Rigging, putting the bones and the joints and the controllers and all that stuff so you can actually make a model deform. Layout is putting all the business together, so putting the characters in there, the set pieces, cameras, things like that. Really rough, like just general whole movements. Animation is actually obviously animating the characters, lighting and rendering. Compositing, final edit, and then, you know, putting sound, although that probably should have been, whatever. But, so we're going to cover Maya in a second, and, oops, okay, so this is just to make a simple, crappy animation thing. It's something I used to do way back in the day. Now, I'm not going to ask that you come up with a concept right now. It's not really, but, I mean, you might want to. What I would say for your short film is you want it to be like 10, 15 seconds. And it should just be like a simple one gag kind of thing. You're not going to blow anybody away. You're not going to be able to make somebody cry in 15 seconds, unless you're like stepping on kittens or something. So what I would say is the best way to do it, like something that works across like all cultures, is to establish a situation, you know, set something up, then have some sort of struggle that anticipates like, oh, this is what's going to happen. But then don't do that. Like, give them something else. So right here is a great example. If you look, Homer, it looks like he's going to hit his thumb, but then he ends up hitting his eye, right? And it ends up being kind of funny because you kind of flip what you think was going to happen. It still makes sense in the context of what it is, because it's not like he just gets randomly, you know, a squirrel jumps out and attacks them. Like, that would be kind of funny, but it's not very intelligent. You know, I see a lot of this random humor stuff. Not that this is like brilliant, but this works pretty well. So I'm not a huge fan of that. The first assignment that what I'm going to want you to do is to basically create character panels and lay out a primitive version of your character. So not like this. This guy's like done, but relatively relatively simple. Like you just have like you use a sphere and like a cube and cylinders, and that's it. I just want you to put that into Maya and make your character panel, so a front and side view of your character. And you can see there's always going to be 4 bullet points for each assignment, because it's each one of these is 1/4 of the grade. So character panels, and look at the character design, your primitive creation, and that you generally adjusted the components of those. Okay, I kind of cover how to make a whatever character panel here, and then I get to some of it here. All right, so that should be enough, and that's basically what we did in class. We would just do that in class, and then you just do it on your own again. But that should be enough for you to at least start with your homework and what have you. If you have any questions, wherever, just email me, and there you go.